Nowadays, companies are getting out of the market faster than ever before. Competition is great, and innovation is more prevalent than it's ever been.
Companies need to start exploring new ideas and creative ways of fixing those problems.
As it follows, this video aims to resolve an operational challenge of a fictional company using creative problem-solving techniques.
The video will present the company and the problem and how it will be solved and how it relates to the issue on a larger scale. During the video, we'll present several different techniques and how we will solve the problems, analyzing them, and evaluating them to find objective.
Thus, the challenge is considered to be solved. Lemon Corporation was founded in 2001 and it specializes in retail. The company has a high level of expertise in consulting. In order to achieve high levels of performance, the business heavily relies on cheap pricing models.
On 17th of May, the company listed 5% loss in their sales compared to 17th of January when they have twice as much and 17th of November when they have triple as much. The percentage continued to increase and the company reached 10% loss in their sales. The reason behind this is the new entrance of competitors in the market. The new competitors started importing in a lower cost and increased their cost of production, thus selling in lower prices and undercut the prices of lemon. Because it's an industry that is like ever changing and super dynamic, companies that are failing to innovate quickly as others can die.
Niccolo Machiavelli was an Italian politician, historian, philosopher, and humanist in the Renaissance period. The most famous and important writing he published was The Prince, in which he essentially outlined strategies for achieving security and being successful in a hostile environment. His strategies are mostly perceived to be self-serving, meant for those who seek power at any cost. Nowadays, we live in a more civilized society, where rivalry is less brutal than before. Yet his words are still perceived to be effective in our modern-day business world. His quote, "Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct within the times," was based on saying change is the only constant in life, by Heraclitus of Ephesus. Machiavelli preaches that business leaders who wish to be successful require apprehending and implying the change as soon as possible, desirably predicting and adopting the change beforehand. Another important factor Machiavelli states in his book is, the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. His quote implies how important it is to have skilled and trustworthy employees by your side. The skill to identify the right people for different tasks is crucial for leaders to get ahead of competition, for without competent staff, a leader is powerless.
Machiavelli's techniques. In order to overcome competition, we need to generate new ideas. To achieve that, we should use our human capital. Thus, we need to create more democratic environment where our employees will feel comfortable sharing. While complete democracy can result in inconsistent decisions and anarchy, Lemon's current strategy is suffocating human potential. That is why they are failing to innovate and are having decline in the output. The levels of democracy in a company should be reasonably moderated. Hence, as a guidelines, in order to solve the problem, we will use the company democracy model.
The company democracy model is a system that is implemented to turn information and knowledge into innovation. It was based on the wisdom of the ancient Hellenic Delphic maxims, Gnothi, meaning know thyself. The company democracy model was developed by Evangelos Markopoulos and Hanu van Haranata in 2015.
Instead of looking for problems internally within different departments, we will try to create shared value for the society. This will be achieved through first creating added value for the company. Creating added value for the company will require utilization of human capital through various leadership and management strategies, which will thereafter result in innovation. Innovation is achieved when there is freedom of speech and mind, and most importantly, knowledge. The company will benefit from this strategy only when thorough understanding is reached out, why social value is needed, and then receiving comes after giving.
Organizational knowledge can be utilized through democratic methods, and they should be used towards common goals and objectives and shared value. Companies fail to notice a problem and then try to solve it when it's too late. In the company, a democracy model, a problem is identified through democracy practices, meaning each employee would have the space to flag a problem, share their ideas, suggestions for improvements, or simply needs. The lists above will only be taken into consideration if they correspond with the shared goals and values.
Being said, all employees are believed to be capable to think. To a certain degree, this makes them human capitalists. As any other property, intellectual property can be monetized and exploited. As democracy model is based on exploiting this human capital, hence it can be also considered as a human intellectual capital model. The steps that Lemon will undertake in solving the problem aligns with the levels discussed below.
The first level of company democracy model deals with the creation of human capital. Open, responsive environments encourage people to share their insights and beliefs. In order for knowledge to be turned into human capital, regardless of its quality, employees should have the space to generate it. Now the quality of the knowledge generated determines the value of the human capital a company has. Knowing the value of companies' human capital will help towards achieving ultimate goals.
The second level makes practical and effective use of employees by giving them a chance to benefit from the model. It differentiates between employees who see democracy as an opportunity from the ones who are taking it for granted. Further, it gives a chance to the holders of valuable knowledge to stand out, share it, and apply it. As stated by Professor Makopoulos and Professor Vahanata, a company should not be seen only as a source of income. Thus being said, anyone can be replaced in any given moment. Consequently, the third level tests the applicability of human capital, which takes the form of products, ideas, and projects.
According to Professor Markopoulos and Professor Van Haranata, innovation is nothing more but solid, relevant, and reasonable human capital. Henceforth, innovators are human capitalists who exploit intellectual property in order to get monetary and other profits. This being said, the fourth level of the pyramid governs the success achieved in the other levels and defines the real value of the human capital both on organizational and personal
To
level.
sum up, innovation descends from intellectual human capital, which is created in a democratic, responsive environment. Innovation is also an essential part of the shared value generation process.
Fishbone diagram. The fishbone diagram, derived from Ishikawa, invented by Dr. Karu Ishikawa, a Japanese quality control expert, is credited with inventing the fishbone diagram to help employees avoid solutions that merely addresses the symptom of a larger problem. That's it.
When it comes to applying the fishbowl diagram, the problem facing with coping price discrimination is very important to start focusing on the quality of the product, as it is one of the factors that can distinguish you from competitors. Show your customers that you are different than your competitors, and create a strong brand that consumers will choose over the particular product.